Bellerin, Bellerin, Hector Bellerin.
In by Mustafi. Bellerin! Brilliant! 2-2!
Hector Bellerin, Bellerin, Hector Bellerin. Na, 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 na. That's a song. Yeah.
Right, everybody, welcome to the Thursday edition, August 13th, of Saved by the Bellerin, the Arsenal football videocast here on the Sports Talk Line Network. Joining you from the United States, I'm Raphael, and again, we have the full complement coming to us from London, from the top to the bottom. We have Ryan. Welcome, Ryan.
Hello, mate. Hope you're well.
I am hot, but I am well. Thank you. Sam, welcome back.
Hello, mate. Always good to be here, as always.
All right, and rounding out the team from the UK is Dean. Welcome, Dean.
Hello, mate. Glad to be here as always, as the lad said.
All right, and the theme for today is in limbo. Obviously, you know, there are a lot of stories. I'm going to preview, just got to give a teaser where we're going to go. We're going to talk about the Emi Martinez news. His future is up in the air. This puzzling interview in The Athletic with Mesut Ozil that seems to raise more questions about his future with Arsenal than it offers answers. What about Willian? Where is Willian? Where is Abba? Our obligatory Thomas Partey minute or two, and then other transfer stories going from Gabriel, Jolson, Lucas Torreira, and Lacazette, all packed in to an action-packed 30 or 40 minutes. But first, I want to bring up one of our own pieces. I'm going to bring Sam in. As you know, we have a site on the Sports Talk Line Network. If you haven't, you should check it out. And on Monday, Sam published an interview with Next Generation Arsenal about the state of Arsenal's youth program. If you want to take the floor, Sam, let the readers know what they could find.
Yeah, so in that interview, I just want to query with Next Generation Arsenal. You can find him on Twitter, which is at Scouting Indoors. I just wanted to ask him around our youth, what his thoughts were on the youth that was in the first team over the past season, obviously with it being a turbulent season. In regards to Bellerin, see what his situation is. And then also a few other little tidbits, like who does he see stepping up into the Arsenal first team immediately in 1 to 2 years and 3 to 4 years. So to find the answers to this, you'll have to go to the website, have a look, have a read. It's very interesting. He's very, very knowledgeable around our youth products. So if you don't follow him on Twitter. He potentially will be coming back and be doing some bits and pieces for us around the youth teams when the season gets running. It's a very good article. If you've got a spare 15, 20 minutes, it's worth a read.
All right, thanks. And again, I've read it. I vouch for Sam's assessment. Good information there for all of it. All right, so again, a lot of limbo, right? Let's begin. Dean, let's bring you in the most recent kind of news to break. Not surprising, but confirmation. Tweet from Emi Martinez about his possible future. Again, limbo is the word. Tell us what's out there.
Yes, so obviously, I mean, we know how good Emi is. As Arsenal fans, we know he is good. We know he's come a long way. He's ready to rock and roll. He's ready to get in the hot seat. He needs to challenge Leno. Most recently, he's come out and said, obviously, if he's not getting that game time, he's going to have to look elsewhere. And today, I believe he said he's got something like 10 clubs that are after him right now, which he said he's going to deal with when he comes back and the pre-season starts kicking off. He's going to sit down and speak to Arsenal. I could see this going either way. I mean, we could obviously, he needs to know he's got to fight for his place, but I could see it going either way. He's either going to come and challenge Leno for this number one spot, which I think he's more than capable of doing, or I'd like to know, because I didn't quite catch whether or not he'd named any of these clubs or if any of these clubs were sort of guessed about. I'd assume Leeds United are one of them. There's probably going to be a couple back in Argentina. But yeah, I mean, he's too good to be Leno's number 2, in my opinion. He definitely needs a starting spot. But is he willing to fight for it at Arsenal? Or is he just going to take the route, and go elsewhere?
It sounded like he was waiting on the club to let him know where his status is. It sounded like he wanted to. That's my takeaway. Of course, your mileage may vary depending on what you saw, depending on what you're reading. Ryan, quickly, I'm going to give you a two-parter. Let's say he's not, for whatever reason, in Mikel's plans, and Mikel wants to go with Leno as the number 1. Emmy's still got some time on his contract. We've been talking about value that this club has. What kind of value does he have after that really strong run-in after Leno went down?
I think he has 1 or 2 years on his contract left. I think it may be 2. But if he has got 2, I think he could fetch easily 15 to 20 million. Easily. That's the least I would expect because of the form he was in after Leno's injury. He's easily worth 20 million. If you're looking at the price of goalkeepers at the moment, that Spanish keeper at Chelsea went for 70. I can see Leno going for not that much, but half of it, if we can get it. I think he could be quite valuable to us if Mikel says Leno is definitely my number 1.
And of course, as keepers go, he's quite young, right?
Yeah, he's 27.
27, I think. So
yeah, the keepers don't come into their prime until they're like 30, 31. So he's still got quite a few years to
and good health on his record. All right, we all woke up this morning with probably a story we hope we didn't see. I think most Arsenal fans. Q&A with Mesut Ozil talking about his commitment to staying with the club, his commitment to seeing out the end of his contract. Very much in contrast, Sam, with what we've seen all this week. Photos of him in Turkey, meeting with owners of the Turkish clubs, some rumors about that he's talking to them, some rumors in the past week that some of the Turkish clubs were trying to find ways of bringing him in. It seems, again, as I said at the beginning, this raises more questions than it does answers. But I mean, where does Arsenal stand with this player now? Can we make sense of it?
Very good question there, Raf. To be perfectly honest, where Arsenal stand is that ultimately he's an Arsenal player. But the thing for me with that interview was him coming through saying that he's ready whenever to be selected to play. He loves London, loves Arsenal, wants to play for Arsenal. He's saying he's working hard in training. But as I said to multiple people throughout the day today, is that his working hard in training may differ to Mikel's working hard in training. So ultimately, if he is fit and ready to play, considering how dire we were in terms of creating chances at the end of last season, some questions have to be levelled at the club, in my opinion. I
want to kick at that, just kind of push that a little bit, because when I was reading it, I neither he nor Arteta wanted to commit to the discussions they had with each other. They're both keeping that under wraps. But he said that what struck me was he said that he was available and fit to play at any time in that run-in. And yet, week after week, we were talking about how this club, as you said, was just crying out for him. If we go by what Mikel did rather than what either said, which is nothing at this point, there's a major contradiction there.
Absolutely. And that's where I think the fans get frustrated, because, as you say, neither are committing to the actual answer of what's going on. And as a fan, you want to know what's going on, especially with one of your star players, essentially. So I don't know whether Arsenal actually sanctioned this interview. If they did, for me, it'd be quite surprising, because it's thrown up more questions than answers, in my opinion. And ultimately, from this interview, it doesn't reflect in good light on Arsenal, to be perfectly honest. But saying that, we're going into a new season. If he is fit and ready, then ultimately he's going to have to prove himself in pre-season, work harder than anybody else. And if he starts getting selected for pre-season games, then we'll have to see in the first couple of games. But then if he isn't there in the first team or even in the squad, then ultimately it's got a signal to him that he needs to leave if he wants to play football, because the way that it's going at the moment, it just doesn't look likely.
All right, and let's move to our next topic. Again, dwelling on that topic can really just bring some bad feelings to what we are hoping is a really good summer. And let's talk about the summer. Again, at this point, I think all of us were expecting at least one announcement, and so far there have been none. So Dean, let's bring you back for the football equivalent of Where's Waldo. I'm going to start with this question. Where's Willian?
Currently now, according to Ryan, playing tennis on holiday. So yeah, he's got to be done and dusted. If we're following the logic of how Arsenal does this, we as fans all know a deal's pretty much done. It's tied up. It's finished. It's just waiting for the club to announce it. As of late, they've been looking for, they've been doing their announcements very creatively. If he's on Instagram or wherever he is showing himself playing tennis on holiday or being wherever doing whatever, it's got to be done. And then I think we had to talk on Tuesday. I'm not sure if it was just after the pod about, I think I mentioned it, about Stuart, the photographer. He'd been at Emirates pretty much every day this week. Was he there just because, or was he there for an appointment, so to speak? We obviously had the inclination. It was said by a few people. It was kind of banded around that Willian was going to be Wednesday, or Aubameyang possibly tomorrow. We've now come on, as you said, with the tagline, a little bit in limbo now. Yeah, I expect it to be announced. The last thing was said within 48 hours from today. A lot of people saying the weekend. So I definitely expect it to be announced. But will something come tomorrow before that? Who knows?
Is this just simply a matter of, his season ended, he was injured, the summer holiday for all these players is so brief that they figured, let's just announce him and then push him straight into training? Is just, this is a function of not having a holiday, a normal holiday?
Yeah, it could be. We know everything considering what's going on. We know a lot, it's going to be a lot shorter for the players, especially now. Some of them are coming home after sort of 6-7 days. Our pre-season's gone back to the 22nd. It was reported he'd had his medical, and the information that he'd had that kept him out of Chelsea's last few games has now settled, and that's not going to be an issue. So yeah, maybe it's just about him just taking some time to rehab and then coming back and the club going, okay, here's Willian. But if that's to be believed, then we don't know how long he's been on holiday now since the Bayern game. So, but yeah, it sounds like that's probably what's going to happen.
Okay, I mean, he said his goodbye to Chelsea. He's not going anywhere. It seems like this guy at some point is coming to Arsenal. Speaking of another guy, Ryan, who we're waiting on, and keeps teasing us and teasing us and teasing us. Let's talk about Aubameyang. You're ready to throw in the towel on this song and dance that he and the club have pulled for the last week.
Mate, you should have seen what's just happened. I've got notifications on for Arsenal Twitter, right? And they've tweeted a nominee for goal of the season, but with the tagline, "Oh, wonderful stuff from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang." I've almost gone absolutely ballistic. I've clicked on it and it's just a goal of the season nominee. I was like, fantastic. They're just longing it out now. I think we all know he's going to stay. We all believe he's signed. He had a celebration party for the FA Cup. I mean, no one goes that far for the FA Cup. Taking a
we
party
love the FA Cup, but you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't go all the way to Italy to celebrate with your whole family for an FA Cup and spray your hair red and white. But it's coming. We've just got to be patient. We've been on this from day dot. We all said on this podcast that he's staying. It's going to be a 3-year deal, and he's going to be our captain for the next few years.
All right, and
just Arsenal playing games.
More circumstantial evidence. Let's bring it all together, right? More rumors and we'll get to those in a little bit. I don't want to take away. I've got everything lined up, but that Lacazette is leaving. He's talking to clubs. They would not be openly discussing him leaving if there was any risk that Aubameyang was leaving as well. I just think that's just. I mean, you have to sue the fans would have to sue the club for malpractice if that happened.
Yeah, there was reports that Arsenal wouldn't lose both of them in one summer, so we can only assume by going by that if Lacazette is talking to other clubs, he's obviously been told, Aubameyang staying, and you're the one that's got to leave, unfortunately for him.
All right, let's keep the transfers moving. Sam, it's Thomas Partey time. The rumors have resurfaced, different permutations of Arsenal want to try this, they want to try that package. All this week we heard maybe Arsenal might try to package Lucas Torreira, who Atletico likes and Atletico has expressed interest in some kind of make weight. And then where the story seems to circle back to no, Atletico want all of his release clause triggered. They want that full amount. They want it in a lump sum. Arsenal's going to have to be creative. And then there was rumors that it's going to be made difficult. This came from a couple of sources. David Ornstein, I think, that Partey wants 200,000 per week. Again, nothing positive really, but nothing negative there.
No, exactly. Obviously, they're playing in the Champions League at the moment. It's all dependent whether they go out tonight or not, or how far they get into the Champions League. There was some quotes coming from the Ghana national team saying that he should reject Arsenal and stay at Atletico Madrid. But I'm not being funny. Like, you're going to the best league in the world. If you want to be at the top level of playing, yes, I know we've got Europa League, not ideal, but at the moment with Atletico, the state that La Liga's in, do you want to continue the same old, or do you want to test yourself and go further? And with that would be the Premier League, and it would be us for a project. So, it's one of them ones. At the moment, a lot of people are coming out and talking, but everybody knows that as soon as the Champions League's over, as soon as Atletico is out, Arsenal will be straight at the table for Thomas Partey. And what people need to realise with this as well is that, yes, we will be negotiating with players, trying to get a swap deal for two reasons. One, it can bring the overall cost of the transfer down. Secondly, it wouldn't be smart just to go in and disrupt Atletico's team in just buying out the player. So ultimately, we've had conversations with Atletico to say, look, we want this player. Do you want any of our players? But ultimately, if the answer is no, then we will be paying the clause. And what we as fans need to realise is that we need to be patient. We still need to have good relationships with clubs. It's just a case of being patient. That is literally what it is at this point in time.
All right, and I want to take that 200,000 a week request. I'm going to take it at face value. I mean, we don't know if it's true or not, but assuming that it is, there's two ways to look at it. It's being presented as a challenge. Does Arsenal have the money? I think we've made that case many, many times. With all these players that are moving out, they do, if they want to, they can afford that. But also, we need to flip it on its head and say, look, Atletico Madrid, I believe, are paying him somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 a week. And if he wants 200,000, we know Atletico are not going to be able to pay that. So is that more evidence on the flip that maybe he won't get 200, but he's trying to get as much out of Arsenal as he can? I mean, that's how I see it. It's just he can bargain too. This is his contract. He's not the oldest guy, but he's not the youngest. And so this is his chance to make big money. So I don't hold that against him, but I see that as more evidence that Arsenal really have leverage here. So as you said, Sam. Let's all be patient. Okay, next topic. A player that we've kicked about, and I'm kind of got Sam on hold here because he's going to do the "I told you so" in a few seconds. But we've been tracking a story that's been in the Portuguese press for 3 weeks or so. It's been reported in both of the major dailies in Abola and Ohogo about the young 17-year-old Sporting Lisbon winger Jolson as a target of Arsenal. A lot of discussions that they were looking at him. He had a 40 million release clause. And then reports a week ago that Arsenal had made a 20 million bid that had been rejected. Another report that they'd made a 30 million bid that was rejected. That was about 2 days ago. And then today, Dean, his agent, Kia Drabshan, goes on TalkSport and says, "Oh, no. You've all been in a bad dream. Arsenal's never been interested in him."
Yeah. It threw me for a thing, as you said. I'm gonna let Sam have his moment in a minute. But we've been discussing this backwards and forwards, day in, day out. And for me, I said the only thing that was making me kind of wary and cautious was the price and the adamance that Arsenal would go out and pay that release clause for a 17-year-old that's unproven. But I also said if it's a Kajagal kind of spot, then maybe there's something about him we don't know other than what we're seeing. But as you say, Kia's Kia's gone on TalkSport today and said, there's zero truth at all. It's so untrue. We haven't even mentioned him to Arsenal. So, I mean, you can kind of take that with Ebola and say, okay, it's them. But when you've got outlets like Oyogo and you've got networks like TVI 24, also reporting the story, they're not ones to kind of follow suit, especially on an outlet that's not really got a good reputation. So it's a dummy run for me. It's kind of sit here and go, okay, maybe it's not going to happen. But then you get little things said, and like when we're in discussion and putting your hands like, is this now a false start by Kia? But then, it's a tough one. But I think for all intents and purposes, I think I was kind of being a bit more hopeful and wishful than a lot of other people, because I know there were people that agreed wholeheartedly with Sam's kind of perception of it.
And there's a guy down there in the lower
Yep.
lower left just shaking his head. He's been skeptical 100. I like his term where we rate rumors. He wasn't talking about this rumor. He was talking about Luiz Zaha, but he said negative 90 on a 10 scale. I don't know if there's a negative 90, but it was pretty close, wasn't it, Sam?
Yeah, I'd bring it up to negative 50. But ultimately, for me, the whole story and the timeline of it just didn't make sense to me, considering he's only made a handful of appearances for the Sporting first team. And, if you're talking them numbers for essentially an unproven 17-year-old, they've got to have that wow factor about them. For me, from what I've seen of him through videos and things like that, I know that you can't get an overall opinion of him. But from highlight reels, you expect, these are all his best bits. It'll be brilliant. But for me, I was just watching it and going, bang average 17-year-old for me. The only thing that it was good at is having the ball close to his feet with his dribbling. But for me, I don't know, just for me, it just didn't make sense. And especially when you start talking about the numbers, the second bid of being 28.7 million, then they were saying, we're going to chuck in a fringe player or youth player to sweeten the deal. And it's just like, for what? For a 17-year-old that's done absolutely nothing in the game. It's like, no, not for me. But as we all know through our chat on WhatsApp, Kia coming out and saying we haven't even spoke to Arsenal or about him at Arsenal speaks volumes, to be honest. And what we've got to think about in Portugal as well, they're notorious for linking their youth products with Premier League teams. It just so happened this time it was with Arsenal, and everyone's jumped up and down about it. But
Probably because of his agent, right?
Possibly.
And the links he has to Arsenal. All right.
Yeah.
Another name. We're keep the theme here. We're going in limbo. Ryan, we've been tracking, hoping, looking for center backs, and Gabriel Magalhaes is from Lille has been one of the prime targets, maybe the prime left-footed target. He still hasn't chosen a club. He's supposed to have chosen a club this week. Lots of stories Monday, Tuesday, around the time of the first pod from the Italian press that he has a quote-unquote gentleman's agreement with Napoli, but yet nothing in the French press about this, nothing in the English press about this. We keep hearing names like Everton, clubs like Everton and Man United, who have been in the running for him, brought back. Arsenal comes up, Arsenal goes back, Arsenal's interested, he's been offered. The story is all over the place, but if you try to figure the origins of this story, it's getting more bizarre than it is clear right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll say what I said in the group chat earlier. You notice all of the reports have a get out clause. They can't be wrong in either outcome, because they'll say if Gabriel does sign for Napoli, we was right. If he doesn't, they can say, well, Koulibaly didn't get sold, or he chose to join someone else. We had the agreement with Lille, so they can't be wrong. And I think it's Italian media yet again blowing smoke and a transfer that is probably very, very quiet right now because no one actually knows what Gabriel wants to do. So Italian media are trying to fill time and papers and all that kind of stuff because their fans are probably just as eager as ours to want to know that. But Arsenal aren't. They don't leak their things as much as the Italian teams do. And I think it goes to show that United haven't said anything either about Gabriel. So I just think this has got a long way to go. This is just waiting on him, I assume, to make a decision. But this is playing out very similar to Nicola Pepe last season and Torreira the season before. It was always, he's going to Napoli. We saw his agents at the Napoli training ground. Lo and behold, 3 weeks later, he's signing for Arsenal and he's putting on a shirt against Newcastle. So I think he'll probably go the same way. I don't want to say I'm too confident, but I can see it panning out the same way as history shows.
All right. Sam, let's bring you back. Another name. He's really been, he was quiet, and now he's everywhere in the news this week, and that's Lucas Torreira, who is being offered everywhere. It seems that Atletico Madrid want him, and that Juventus want him, and that there are other Italian clubs that want him. There's a market for him. Arsenal's going to get some money for him. He's going to be make weight in one deal. He's going to be sent for straight cash. Again, is there anything firm we can tell with this other than it seems that he's leaving the club, it sounds like, but beyond that, what can we do? What can we say?
Yeah, ultimately, I don't see him being here come the start of the season. As you say, there's been talks with Roma in regards to Torreira coming here. There's talks of that being a straight swap, but also coming out of Italy, which makes me doubt the reports a little bit. Is that one saying that it's going to be a straight swap, the other saying it's going to be us bidding 18 million for Torreira. Then you've got other reports saying that it's going to be him and Kluivert for Torreira. So in terms of Roma, they just seem to be throwing their press seems to be throwing everything around. Fiorentina was mooting a loan option, so it'll be a £5 million loan fee and a mandatory 20 million
obligation, right? After that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That could be something that we could be interested in. Obviously, we would want the money now, but theoretically, we could spend that future money now because ultimately we're going to be getting that back in a year's time. But yeah, it seems that Italy is going to be the place where Lucas Torreira is going to land. It's purely going to be who wants him more out of the Italian teams, I think.
Okay, and another name who has been strongly connected with Italy, Dean, let's bring you back. Alexander Lacazette. He's been on Juve's radar, apparently. Numbers being kicked around. In his case, it seems more like a straight cash deal. Although we can't forget that he was also strongly linked just about 3 or 4 days ago with Atletico Madrid. So it seems that Arsenal, there's 2 or 3 clubs, and again, patience or limbo. Atletico Madrid is playing, Juventus is out, but Atletico could hold a lot of cards, and they're probably holding them close to the vest with regards to Partey, Lacazette, Torreira. There could be a lot of movement, a lot of work between those 2 clubs. But let's talk about the Italian rumors, because those are the fresher ones. What can we tell? I mean, is there a bigger market besides Juve? I mean, Juve might be enough.
Yeah, I think we spoke about this previously about Inter, but it seems they've apparently still got their sights on they were regurgitating Aubameyang if Martinez goes to Barca. We know that's not happening, but there was interest for Lacazette from Inter Milan. There was interest from Juve, as you say. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few more over in Italy looking at him. Atletico have been a team that have wanted him for quite some time. So again, something we can bat them off each other. The Juventus one was interesting because I think it was just post-pod Tuesday, me, you and Sam were discussing that there was talk that originally Juve had proposed, or it might have even been on the pod, the Douglas Costa swap or a Bernardeschi swap. But apparently there was a no-go on that since we picked up Willian, which I mentioned that to me that then tells me that despite reports to the contrary, that we are looking at putting Willian on the wing rather than the 10 position. I don't think there's anyone we particularly wanted from Juve until a rumour piped up about Dybala possibly being sold by Juventus. And I think it was Ryan that pointed out, what did he say? It was Lacazette and 20 million or so. So I was a layout. So we buy Dybala for a certain price, and then they buy Lacazette for a certain price. You guys were discussing that. So that one keyed up, and that one made my ears prick up because I feel that Dybala would probably be a very, very, very hot property for us if we could make that work. So I think that's our main proposal with Lacazette, in my opinion, if we're going to go to Juve. Atletico, the obvious one, but we don't know if they're going to go for any swaps. But we have got a market for him, as we discussed before, definitely. And it's one that, as you said, I think Mikel has created for this man as well as a few others in our squad. All right, Ryan, I'm going to let you finish. One name that we haven't mentioned, let's put him in context with this move, because again, this is pie in the sky. This is just speculation on our part, the Dybala, because he hasn't been linked, as you said, though. Juve were trying to move him last summer, but he has never been linked with Arsenal. This is just us kind of kicking around. Well, if you could have a player off their roster, if you were sending Lacazette in their direction, who would you want? And this was kind of your pick. But interesting comments in context with that, because again, Kia Jarabshin, who we've been talking about in his TalkSport interview, talked about Coutinho and said that he would have to be realistic. He likes to play. He wants to play in the Prem, but he needs to be realistic about the money. Does that give us a teaser about his situation with Arsenal at all? Can we, or is again just more fog in this late week of maybes and what ifs?
I think we can read between the lines. I think he's taken aim at Barcelona rather than Coutinho. Because if we take Coutinho on loan, we're going to have to pay a percentage of his wages or all of his wages. So I think he's taken a fire at Barcelona there, say, well, pay half, Arsenal will take him off your hands. And with or without an option, obligation, whatever you want to say. So I think he's more aiming at Barca there. But Coutinho does have to be more realistic with his wages if he wants to sign for us permanently. So I don't think we'll be paying 250,000 for a 29-year-old. I know we'd say that as Aubameyang's about to sign a new contract, but so yeah, I don't think he's talking about Coutinho there, reading between the lines. I think he's talking about Barca.
Okay, real late rumor, because again, things just kind of fly out of the sky on a Thursday evening. Story from France that Rennes apparently have initiated discussions for David Luiz. Kind of caught us all by surprise. Right now, William Saliba is the only right-sided, he and the healthy right-sided defenders. So if you took David Luiz out of that picture, you're looking at William Saliba, who's talented but untried, and keeping Shkodran Mustafi, perhaps. Play with that one a little bit. What can you do with that?
I think Sam said it, or I think Dean said it as well, that David Luiz is probably signing an extension in case he want to pay money for him in the summer, because we've all spoke about it. We want an overhaul of this squad. We need to clear all the clowns out, and David Luiz is one of them. I like him. He's played well, but he's got a David Luiz moment in him. So
moments, plural,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and I think we could probably do with a few solid centre backs rather than Saliba, potentially Gabriel Magalhaes, and that's it. I mean, you look at Pablo Mari. Sorry, he's quite solid. If we go into the season with just them three as solid, and Mari has a injury again, recurrence of it, then we're left with Saliba and Gabriel, who are very inexperienced in the Premier League. If they go out of form, we're stuck with David Luiz and Mustafi again, and we're back to square one. So I think if we can get rid of all of them and bring in ones that we do want, ones that fit our style of play, like Diego Carlos, Ruben Diaz from Benfica, Pau Torres, someone like that, with Gabriel Magalhaes, I think would be a lot more solid at centre back. And David Luiz could probably bring in 5 to 10 million as well. Just throwing it out there.
All right, so we're going to give a homework assignment to the people who are watching here, because this is a question we've been kicking about in the group, but we're winding down. But I want to give it to everybody because this topic will pick up next on Tuesday. Hopefully, we'll have some actual news, some signings, some players holding the shirt, plural with that. But we put slides up on Tuesday and we showed that Arsenal can sell players and bring in a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. Well, in the neighborhood of 140, 150 million if they wanted to. If they wanted to do the big clear out, they could go maybe 30, 40 million higher than that. And one of the questions we had is, okay, let's say they get Thomas Partey. Let's say they take Coutinho on loan. They got Willian on a free. Jolson, it seems, is out of the picture. So they're working on a tighter budget. So maybe they only spend about 70, 80 million, and they're bringing in so much more. You have cash to burn. Would you look at a guy? Would you just say, okay, I'm going to go get 2 or 3 more, or might you pull a Chelsea? And obviously Chelsea had a ban; they couldn't spend it. But might you hoard that money and say, next summer, hopefully we're back in contention for top 4 spot. Let's go for the next young big thing. I think I mentioned to these guys, I don't know if you want to throw a name out or we'll hold this till Tuesday, but if you're going for the big fish, if you're going to play that game, who would you look at? Sam, is there anybody that comes to mind immediately in that?
For me, it'd be Havertz. But ultimately, if you're going to get him, it looks like it needs to be this summer. But if Chelsea do make a bid this summer, I'd match that bid so it's an even playing field. But if they don't, then I would wait till January, try it again, and if that doesn't work, try again in the next summer.
Okay. Dean, is there anybody who really makes your mouth water?
I mean, there's a few.
Big thing, right? But who fits what this club is looking for?
Honestly, I think I mean, I said it as well the other day, and Sam's just taken Kai. I think he'd probably be the one, but we've kind of gone off the trail of him. I'd like us still to be pursuing Mark Rocker. I really would like us to be pursuing him still. I don't know where that's gone because that's gone quiet. Other than that, if we lose Lacazette,
that's not $100 million player though.
Well,
An $80 million player. That's
so
kind of the game. We're playing with monopoly money here.
Okay, so anyone that we could get,
we can do this.
Okay, so anyone out of the blue. Oh God. Okay. I know he's getting old now, but I would love to have had Ronaldo at my club for a while. I would love to have taken him, but I don't know, out of a new breed, out of a new generation, these guys that are worth that kind of money coming up and not been around for a while. I honestly couldn't give a name. I'm sorry. I'm gonna sit on this because I honestly couldn't give a name.
We'll come back to it on Tuesday. Ryan, you had a couple names that kind of perk up right away.
Yeah, I just want to boil the piss of quite a few Man United fans. If they don't sign him this summer, I'll go Jadon Sancho or Haaland. One of them two, just to annoy a few people.
Okay.
Damn it.
Now you wish you thought of them, right? All right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we're winding
just
up.
to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Leipzig just scored.
Oh.
So it could be close to a party.
So there you go. Arsenal fans, probably maybe good news. All right. So how much time is left? Don't have it in front of me.
I think we're around about 50 minutes.
Okay. So we got to wait. So I have something to look forward to when the pod is over. All right. So, gentlemen, it's been a week of getting up every morning. This feels like the Wenger days where you get up and you go through everything hoping there's something and there's nothing and there's nothing. Now, it's only been 1 week. We have to keep things in context, but we were expecting so much after we were told we wanted to get everything in early. We want to get everything early. Are we finally going to see something when we come back on Tuesday? We'll start with you, Dean. We're going to wrap it up here. Is it time?
I bloody well hope so. I feel Willian's going to be announced by then already. Hopefully, the whole Aubameyang saga's just shut up shop, and we can just go back to now focusing on the transfers. I also obviously hope by the end of today we're going to be getting that much closer to the party, as the lad said.
All right, Ryan. 1, 2, a couple Brazilians. An Aubameyang, a grab bag? Are they going to have the big intro? Maybe because of COVID, are they just going to walk them all out at once? Social distance them, of course, but bring them all out together?
Yeah, I've got this gut feeling. I'm taking this from Sam. I've got this gut feeling that we're going to hear some news. But if Man United beat Sevilla, I've got a feeling you're just going to hear Arsenal have activated Diego Carlos's release clause. I just got this big feeling because this Gabriel situation has all gone very quiet. I just feel like there might be a smokescreen, and we're just gone. There you go. Here's your big shiny centre back. And
okay, that's a name we brought up, but that's a name, as you said. There's been nothing on that. All I can say to that, and I've been scouring the Spanish papers. I did read an interview with Monkey, the Sevilla club director, and his quote about Diego Carlos was, "If I get an interesting offer for him, I'll have to take it seriously." And that made me go, okay. So maybe Ryan is right. All right, Sam, your gut was right on Jolson. Your gut gets the final vote today. What's going to happen between now and Tuesday? What does Sam's gut say?
I'm going to go with Auber extension, Willian signing, and I am also going to say Gabriel Magalhaes' choice of club is going to be revealed to be us.
That would be a good start. And I guess, we can talk on Tuesday where it's the end. That might be a good end too, but it's certainly a good start to the summer. All right. So we want to thank all of you out in the pod world. We've seen quite a few of you stuck with us throughout the broadcast. We love seeing you in the room. We love seeing you stay with us. We love your questions and we love interacting with you. So, bring more questions. Send us questions at the Say by the Bellerin Twitter feed. We pick them up there too. But we will be back on Tuesday. And again, as we all hope, there'll be some good news and lots of it regarding additions and maybe some subtractions from the club. But either way, for the team, for Dean, for Sam, and for Ryan, I'm Raphael bidding you a good evening. We will see you again on Tuesday.